but historically, Bloodseeker does fine in most of those matchups as long as he doesn't get like crushed earlier. If his courier sniped, his sustain is incredible.
5 seconds remaining.
Very melee heavy draft though, running the Void, and they have 4 melee heroes. So I worry about their ability to dump damage in the Chrono. You've got the Bloodright, I guess. Bloodright Static Storm is like decent, but there's no sustained damage output as the game goes later into that Chrono.
Bloodright's like a nice little AoE silence to drop on a Chrono. It's also very good against the TB illusions. It should, for all the early to mid-game stages, like clear them out pretty quickly.
Have there been any big Bloodseeker changes that are notable?
It was the buff recently. I think he got extra movement speed. I was just looking to go quickly check what his buff was. Bloodseeker, base damage increased by 4, actually. That makes his laning a lot stronger. I mean, that turns
especially with Blood Rage, you know, but having higher base damage means a lot more.
Yeah, that's like that makes him more ideal for mid lane. Like, you don't need that +4 damage as a safe lane carry where your farm is not often contested, but in a 1v1 mid, that's where Puck has kind of risen to prominence. That can make a big difference, having that extra base damage.
All right, let's go. LGD Forever Young, already up 1-0 in the group stage, so off to a great start. I'm LD, he's Gods, and oh, by the way, we've got a very talented stats man joining us. It's Owen Dankeys, the legendary OD Pixel. So if you like the stats, guys, be sure to let Valve know that you don't need Knoxville anymore. You've got Owen.
We've also got a fourth caster, which is the Valve chat wheel right now.
How long do you think it is before it acquires sentience and we lose our jobs, Gods?
It's not far away. Near future. Automation is coming. I feel like there's normally the time limit on how much you can spam it, but I think it's removed in private lobbies.
Should I mute them? What was the verdict? Do people like it? Find it annoying?
You know, I think it was Manila. It was like it was slightly positive, and I think it's gradually getting more and more questioned. But
well, I saw when Pimp muted them, there was outrage. You know, people were like furious at the nerve of this guy.
Freedom of speech, you know.
Yeah.
Look, we'll allow it for now. If it gets too out of control.
I think it's just a vocal minority, to be honest. I think most people find it extremely annoying, but we'll see how it goes, guys. Perhaps we'll do a poll. I think we do have the power. Then we might ignore the results anyway, but we can do a poll, guys.
We can, but it doesn't mean we'll listen. We are.
Don't fucking mute, says the chat.
So
I'll ask you guys for your predictions on the series, like ignoring the draft. Just how strong do you think Liquid really is? I know Nahaz made this a very controversial topic with one of his bold proclamations, which he's certainly known for, that Liquid is a lock for a TI invite. It's not even up for discussion. But LGD Forever Young, certainly not a lock for a TI invite right now, but off to a strong start, took down OG. Do you agree Liquid's a lock? And more importantly, how strong do you feel they are coming into this tournament?
I don't know about lock for TI because I can't really comment because it depends on how many invites they have. You know, they could just decide we're only inviting 2 teams, you know?
Well, you know, if Navi has a good tournament, I am pretty confident there will be an extra TI invite, guys.
Okay, so 3 invites into TI. But, I mean, it depends on number of invites to TI. It's kind of hard to say for sure outside of, like, the top placing teams at Kiev. But as far as Liquid go against LFY, I think they are definitely favorites in this matchup. They are the team who has just had overall better results. LFY is like a kind of newish roster. They brought in Afu from SEA. They're looking very promising, but I think they still have work to do.
Super really wanting this bounty room, but Kuro's going to deny him. Good shards placement. Has skilled up the blink, so we'll get back to safety. A bit of a early bounty rune win here, as I do have to fix the HUD apparently. Apologies, folks. Which where do you change the HUD nowadays?
You go to your Armory. I'm gonna head up. Do we need to do it now, or are we okay?
Apparently, they want it fixed.
Oh, we got to pause. There we go. So go back to your dashboard.
Treasury, is it called?
Yeah, Armory top right.
HUD.
Interface, I believe. HUD.
Which one do we want? And do you know which
default
HUD? Is it default HUD or is it?
Can't go wrong with the default HUD.
All right.
Are you on default?
I'm on default now.
Okay.
What was it?
Yeah. I don't know, like the overlay still matchup or something.
No. Amateurs. Well, so yeah, that was a lot of harass onto a Quap early on. Had to get level 1 Blink, which means his Bloodseeker is love and life. He's not getting Shadowstruck, which is like the worst thing that can happen in mid lane.
Yeah, Quelling Blade, Poor Man's Shield with Blood Rage, very difficult to even from the start to harass him on the lane because it's just so hard to prevent him from last hitting. But
I think it was a bit of a mistake from Slider. Slider should be on top of that ramp near the bounty rune, protecting the Quap at the start there. He needs to at least scout it out so Quap can back off, give up the bounty rune, or you can fight it. Because the worst thing that can happen is what happened there, which is you lose the bounty rune and you take a ton of harass and you have to level up Blink. So, not really ideal for LFY's start.
yeah, so for those just joining us, wanting to know what this tournament is all about, it's a full best-of-3 round-robin group stage. Bottom 2 teams per group eliminated, right? I do believe, so let's...
Ooh.
Radiant's curse
We'll try to fix that. Radiant lose their courier. Whoopsie daisy.
Looks like that got sniped by the Queen of
Quap.
Pain.
Quap just
Yeah,
blinked in. Manned up. I mean, there we go. Level 1 blink on Quap. It pays off, LD. As I was saying.
That's 2 games, actually, this tournament where we've seen the level 1 blink courier snipe.
I mean, best skill to level on Quap. I mean, she knew what she was doing. She didn't want Shadow Strike. Jeez, that's
nice
unusual.
Early courier takedown. It looks like the overlays have hopefully been sorted out to production's liking.
Yeah.
So.
Jesus, Bloodseeker just turns around and fights and right-clicks
He's
Afu
hitting for
down the
almost
half.
100 in attack already.
It's rough.
And that's not even taking into account the Quelling Blade for last hitting purposes.
Yep.
So, yeah.
He's-
Good luck stopping Miracle from farming.
He is dominant. And because of the split XP between Kunkka, like, I think Quap is just like, leave my lane. I need level 2. I need to get my Shadow Strike up because the split XP means Miracle is almost level and a full level ahead.
Putting a little pressure here on the old Sladar, and in fact could be in some trouble to GH. He's going to have to go back in.
Done for.
Look for the crush. He does pop the Fairy Fire. Kuro's coming in too, and yeah, I do not see him making it out of this one, Gods. First blood to Liquid. They did lose their courier earlier, but things still looking pretty good for them.
Kuro working hard to get that kill for himself. And yeah, bottom lane going very well. Mid lane will get tougher for Bloodseeker. As Queen gets some levels, Kunkka's going to kind of maintain his presence in this mid lane as well.
Yeah, they do not want to let Miracle just freely heal back to full HP, though, so you can see Afu applying the pressure mid, but they're having to dual lane with a Quap. Normally you pick the Quap, you don't need help. So already feels like Miracle is having a fine time here.
I like what Super was doing, though, just making sure that he prioritized the zoning over going for last hits or anything, knowing that if Miracle starts getting those last hits, he'll quickly heal back up. But Bloodseeker will be probably bringing out a salve, some boots fairly soon if possible. Problem is, he's got no courier, so actually he can't bring those out. This is actually a pretty rough lane for him.
Timely Radiant scan, though. As Super jumps in, Miracle into the trees, and now with the Torrent
great
connecting,
torrent.
great prediction play
Deny
by
fails.
Afu.
Yeah.
Huge style points for that. Salvage what could have been a disaster, but might end up being one anyway. As Super gets glimpsed back, will end up going down. Afu sneaks away, but at least they get the kill out of it.
Yeah, they knew GH was coming in with a salve, and they just did not want to let that Bloodseeker stay alive in lane. Works out like as kind of an even trade in the end, I feel.
Look at mind control. 4 CS as a Darkseer.
Bit unexpected, but Dazzle, Poison Touch level 1, pretty good at zoning, and I imagine Terrorblade just used that Metamorph already once, probably early on at level 1. Maybe not, he's still full mana, actually.
Yeah, he went for the early boots on the Darkseer, so really feeling the pressure of this lane.
Oh.
It's going to delay his sustain. Not really able to go jungle too effectively either. Meanwhile, good news for
mid lane,
Matumba's having a
Miracle
pretty good
could be in
time.
trouble again.
X is there. Kuro's going to come in, look for the snowball save, turn her around, rolls him towards the tower though. Then the shards come out. Can he get this last hit on Afu? He will. Miracle tries to stay alive. The damage, not quite enough. Super very low.
He was so close to getting
That was
one more
almost a
right-click
2
off.
for nothing.
Bottom
the other
lane,
way.
meanwhile. So that should be okay. But some harass deep behind the tower. That was a nice snowball. Quap just got the level 2 Shadow Strike back up, but couldn't use it right away and manages to get a kill, heal up a little bit, and then almost get a second kill.
Rune spawning now. Slardar not having a great time here, but hey, he's only 5 CS apart from a Darkseer, so all things considered, has to be fairly happy with that. Meanwhile, it is a free farm Terrorblade and a Void. Overall, Gods, are you really favoring anyone right now with Liquid giving up the courier but having the first blood, the safe lanes both free farming, and then the X factor of Miracle having a good time mid so far?
Liquid's early game has been a little bit better just with how their supports have gotten involved in all these kills, killing the off lane and killing mid.
Kuro, he's in deep now. Afu already used the X though.
Yeah.
So.
If feels like the carries, the mid lanes are pretty even, so it's just kind of where we see Liquid supports a little bit more experience, a little bit more gold. Although Darkseer isn't doing the best right now, that will quickly change. A hero that can farm a lot faster than a Slider, especially a dead Slider.
And the Tumbo man's like, give me a bash, and it doesn't need it in the end though. We'll secure the kill, going for the early treads here. As Miracle makes the journey back to the
dangerous
jungle.
place to be, but he's got a
He's
shrine.
very low. Yeah, normally as Bloodseeker, you don't rely on that regen as much, but does not really want to risk being this low and off the map. So I think a wise choice by him.
Afu sees the camp being jungled. If he can land a torrent, Miracle will take a lot of damage while stunned with the neutrals on him.
Yeah, gonna let him drop a little bit lower. Quap perhaps gonna blink in. They might be able to go for a kill here. The timing could be just right. Afu, look for the torrent and the blink. Squid of Pain slams it home. Beautiful timing. And all of it set up by Afu. I know Winters had high praise for Afu, and with these wards and early rotations, he is putting a lot of pressure on Miracle.
Yeah, managed to get a lot of the neutral camp too with that Sonic Wave. Very well played. And
well, the Slardar struggles continue, though, in the bottom lane. He's going to get bashed at the worst possible time. Surrounded and pounded by the creeps. He'll end up going down.
Tough lane.
Even game so far.
Yeah, tough lane. I just feel like we're seeing why Slider isn't picked and played much in that off-lane role. Few teams are using him there anymore, and
I don't know if I've ever seen a Darkseer have this rough of a start. He is getting his levels, I suppose, but Mind Control really struggling in the CS department.
I think we're seeing this patch without the Shrine. It's not quite as easy to maintain dominance in that off lane. Darkseer keeps getting nerfed a bit too, so perhaps just we're seeing the results of some of those off lane changes.
Oh, Miracle. The trap has been sprung. Torrent comes through again. Snowball there, though, interrupts the TP. Still diving him under the tower. Super will drop. The rotation not in time, and all of a sudden DDC ineffective as the Dazzle so far.
Interesting. Yeah, you can actually blink away from the rupture without taking damage if you like do the max range blink and then like move a tiny bit, unless that's been changed recently. But I know that's how that mechanic used to always work with Queen of Pain, blink, and rupture. So not sure if Super is familiar with the matchup, or like, I mean, obviously it's a hero you don't verse very often in pro games.
It used to be Quap's blink range scaled, like with the old blink, and I believe it wasn't enough at the early levels.
Yeah,
but now it's
Level
the same range at all
range is
levels.
same. Yeah.
So I believe you're correct that now you should be able to dodge the damage. I'm going to find Mind Control top. Looking for the Darkseer here. Good Torrent coming through. That heal damage from the Dazzle. Substantial. And the Shadow Wave enough to get the kill.
It's Afu. All 4 kills. His name has been somewhere on. And that's definitely working well for LFY, getting kills on mid on the Bloodseeker at top now. Very active. But unfortunately for Slider, his rotation towards mid, not going to immediately find Miracle, but he's got friends in the neighborhood. Afu's coming in.
They got the Sonic Wave ready. The Miracle feeding frenzy may well continue here. As he lurks in the trees. LGD, no, he's in the neighborhood, but the Radiant Scan is timed just right. They sniff it out. Miracle will retreat Kuroki in reserve in case the commitment comes. And you got to be careful now about diving that Tower Gods, because Matumba is packing a TP and has Chrono ready, so a dive with 3 could easily result in 3 going the way of Liquid.
Yeah, he's ready
Miracle's
to fight.
baiting this. He really is, showing himself mid. In comes the Terrorblade, but LGD could just like to push the tower.
Yeah, it looks like LGD know that this tower is being kind of defended, like at least the Bloodseeker's life is going to be protected, so they're just going to bring all 5 to push, but a Glyph, and the new changes, you bring 5 heroes to push a tower, it gets a ton of extra armor, you push very slow, whereas Mind Control top, Solid pushing a lane, he's going to push that tower faster than like the 4 or 5 heroes mid, so it doesn't really turn into a cost-effective trade to send 5 heroes mid this early on.
Yeah, Liquid even TP'ing in GH, so they answered with 4, but quickly disassemble the push on the side of LGD, and they will go back to the lanes.
Yeah, seems like, I mean, TB's just not really at a point where he's got the items to truly threaten to push, even with the maxed up Metamorph. You need to find some pickoffs first if you want to make that kind of play, which was the idea. They kind of got in behind. They were hoping to kill the Bloodseeker with the Slider's involvement, but
seems like it's going to be a hard game to just 5-man into Liquid once they get their ults, once they have a few more levels. Still only a level 1 glimpse, but if you ever decide to back from that push later on in the game, you will get punished by the Disruptor especially.
Yeah, definitely. The team fight synergy between Liquid is fantastic.
Speaking of which, the Chrono getting deployed, and the bubble will spell trouble As Slardar goes down yet again. Struggle city for him, really, in the bottom lane.
Yikes, yeah, this is looking really rough for
He
him.
is below Kuroki's Tusk in net worth.
Yeah, 0-4, his start has been pretty abysmal and just kind of hard. Anytime he goes to the lane, all it takes is like one Void Bash to set up for a kill, or one. They don't need both supports. They don't need a tri-lane to be a Slardar. All they need is 2 heroes, and that's meant that Tusk has been able to protect the mid lane, Disrupt has been free to pull and roam a bit, and anytime the Slardar comes, I'll just get those easy kills.
All right, so Miracle now in position to potentially a 2-shot, a support, I want to say, with the Blood Rage here. Looking for the
brutal.
tower dive. Monet could drop very quickly. And with the Silence Rupture combination, it's quite unreliable if you're going to get that Sunder off. Even with the Dazzle in reserve, only a level 1 Shallow Grave, so the range is quite low. And Liquid were thinking about prepping up. Instead, Miracle, oh, not again. The Slardar getting caught out. Forces the DDC TP, and now that opens the way to maybe dive on mid, though this is not the killing combo. No Walrus Punch yet, so I'm not sure Monet's in too much danger here.
Nice thing about things like that for a Bloodseeker is you don't really... Rupture's such a short cooldown, and it's not like a big team fight spell that if you use it, your opponents can punish the fact
They can
Rupture's
force out
down.
the Sunder, though, and he actually holds
Oh.
it too long. Oh, did not realize, I guess, that he had backup. No respect, meanwhile. Good glimpse back. Secures the retreat, mind control dropping low, and Kuroki now with the shards. Not quite able to wrangle DDC, but fishing for it, and simultaneously in the bottom lane, Matumba freely farming and pressuring, so Liquid starting to flex all across the map, up to a 3,500 gold lead.
Yeah, this Vlads means he's going to get a tier 1 tower of his own. Top lane, they kind of vacate knowing that it could be a bit dangerous with TB's Metamorphosis in play, but Liquid just splitting the map, winning the farm battle, finding kills too now, and things continue to look pretty bad for LFY. They just did not dominate the mid lane how they would have hoped to, even with a couple of kills on the Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker still got farm and got items, whereas the heroes like Slardar who were dying did not get farm or items.
Bloodseeker might have a lot later on, going for the Midas now. So, economy still very much in favor of Team Liquid.
And Liquid want to use next Chrono.
What is the Bloodseeker build nowadays, guys?
Tank normally, Blade Mail, SMYs.
Solar Crest.
Yeah, Solar Crest, yeah, pretty good. Your melee core against a TB, that sounds very useful for your team. Yeah, I think that's more or less it. Halberd could be a good item. That item's seen a ton of buffs, so maybe you get the SMY, then disassemble, but...
Why is it always this stinking Slardar? Man, he's just public enemy #1 for Liquid, but this time has a lot of backup, and Liquid are going to get nervous. Good Hero Torrent will connect. They have the boat ready, and they are going to let it go. The crush coming through. It's a swing and a miss for
What a
Afu.
snowball.
And now the snowball looks to turn things around as Liquid re-engage. Monet just can't seem to dish out the firepower. The Chrono comes through at the perfect time. It will lock Miracle in position, but still Liquid are finding these kills. Super's in danger. He's got to jump away, and Miracle, imbued with that bonus move speed, diving in onto the Slardar. Snowballs there. Again, the silence. It is going to barely clip him. Man, he just melts to Miracle. Almost 200 damage a pop with those auto attacks. Well on his way to the Midas now, and
He's got no
Afu,
TP.
no TP for 12 seconds. 10 painful seconds too long, it would seem, as Liquid get into position here. They do have the single pointing glimpse still available. Afu slowly dying to creeps of all things. Kuro jams it home, and Liquid make it 12-5. Just comfortably in cruise control mode here, gods.
Yeah, it feels that way. You know, it's nice to have these opening games when you have a long day. I mean, I think Liquid probably have like 2 series today or something, but as far as game 1 goes for them, the lanes went pretty smoothly. Like, yeah, Miracle dies a few times and all that, but big picture-wise, things went pretty much according to plan for Liquid. They're now team fighting very well. They got really good ulti usage off there, and they've got the team fight advantage when you look at the Chrono, the Static Storm, great Tusk Snowball from Kuro dodging the Ghost Ship, which blocked a big amount of damage. And then the run wasn't applied to LFY's team because of where it was placed. So you use that offensively, and suddenly LFY don't have that much needed damage block. If you're in a team fight like that against Chrono Static Storm, you've got to get the run off, I feel.
The thing that is scary for LFY is Liquid have the superior team fight at this point, like by far, and Liquid also won the lane. So you really can't split push either, right? Because you're up against Bloodseeker, Disruptor, Void, like great heroes to chase and punish that big team fight combo. If you commit as a 5-man squad, your jungle will be invaded. Already Liquid have started to take it over. So farming is tough. pushing is not an option unless those ults are on cooldown. Then maybe LFY can sneak it in, and even going for a Roshan with that tower having fallen in these liquid wards seems unlikely. With Slardar Terrorblade, that's supposed to be your comeback mechanic, I suppose, but.
Well, ganking's also an option too. You think if you're having a bad start, how do you turn it around? You get your Slardar blink, you smoke up, you gank. You can't do that when Slardar's got no money. Yeah,
150 gold.
He's poorer than both
bank.
supports on Liquid. They're going to smoke up and try. They have to rely on like Kunkka to get an X initiation. He's not even got level 4 X. I mean, it's level 3, so it's at least all right with an 800 range gap closing capabilities. But
this could be the dream scenario if Matumba Man sticks around, but he has the high ground, at least for now. They are going to get eyes on as the smoke breaks. They get the scream off, and now with the Veil follow-up, will it be enough damage coming through? The boat connects. Beautifully placed. The Queen of Pain ult 2. Another Torn. LGD will secure the kill. Much needed for them.
Yeah.
But Liquid, meanwhile, still getting something off the map as they are going to push into this tower top.
That's a nice kill, and one that will look like turn into an objective, which is the big thing for LFY. They need to start taking towers. That's where Slardar's going to get some money for his Blink Dagger, and that's where they're going to be able to slowly get their way back into this game.
Monet whacks the tower down. Does keep his farm pretty solid so far, only slightly trailing that Void, but certainly not the explosive start you'd like to see, although this stack maybe could help. It's not the best hero for clearing stacks, but he'll work on it. As Miracle just continues to chip prod at this tower, already down to half HP and no sign of a defense yet. This is a lot of free damage to be giving away on a tier 2 at this stage of the game.
He's got such great vision in the area and teammates nearby to back him up. DDC trying to just get near the tower is going to have to give it up, it looks like, with Liquid's move coming in.
Tier tower down, so the dire jungle control evaporating. Liquid, meanwhile, still maintaining their bastion of defense that side of the map, and it really is just a minefield of wards for Team Liquid. We do see some pretty good ones for LGD as well, but with no Slardar Blink, it doesn't feel like they can often convert on these. Very reliant on smokes.
Yeah, you see
they've been chewing through those so far.
Yeah, my first thought seeing the ward was like, damn, Liquid have some great wards up. And I was like, yeah, LFY also do, but the thing is they can't use, like you say, they can't use those wards because they're playing defensively. These great wards they have aren't really that useful when you're forced to play back and play without a Slardar Blink Dagger.
Liquid straight into the Roche pit, so Slardar Terrorblade looks like they will be denied their Aegis, and gods, I don't know if LGD can fight into this. Mind Control has a mech. Even if they knew, it would be a very uphill battle, and they either don't have an idea or don't care to contest because they are not coming. They're not even pushing bottom quickly. Queen of Pain hiding in the trees, so really LGD giving up a Roche truly for free. And Liquid, now with the Aegis of Miracle, can ramp up the aggression.
LFY, all their wards still did not quite know what was going on there. Only after Roche went down did Super poke his nose out to try and damage the tower a bit more, but
that's just respect for the Disruptor as well, as Liquid are going to make their move on the mid lane. DDC gets off the grave, gets glimpsed back in. He's so freaking low. Will maybe get off the one heal. No, the bash denies him again, and the struggles continue. LGD with two heroes that are feeling very easy prey at this stage.
Yep. They'll just start snowballing through these towers one by one. It's not very difficult for LFY to fight and defend these. TB still a bit item starved. Quap has this Veil, which is alright, but there's no other magic damage to throw in. It's mostly physical. Just the Kunkka damage that can go with the Queen of Pain at this point.
Well, Liquid is going to back up this initial onslaught with some Midas Gaming. As GH will grab his too. So double Midas for the Liquid boys. Economy game looking very solid, and to add to that, their cores farm pretty quickly. Obviously, Bloodseeker just has a ton of damage. The Bloodright allows them to clear the smaller camps quite easily. The Void build allows them to stay constantly hitting creeps, and Darkseer are good at clearing them as well. Yep. So you should have a quad core for Liquid emerging if this game goes on too much longer.
Yeah, it's nice when you're the one who's winning, has the big team fight advantage, because as a support, there's no need to buy like a Force or a Glimmer Cape. If the game was closer, if LFY were the ones being the aggressors, as a disruptor, you'd be like, man, I gotta get a Force stuff for my team. I gotta get a Glimmer Cape, or maybe I gotta just think about Ags right away. But there's no item that GH needs.
How do LGD get back in this game? Because it's feeling bleak right now, God.
Slardar's Blink is actually suddenly coming up out of nowhere. They've just been kind of farming away in the Slardar, getting this Blink up, so they'll pick that up, probably look to immediately smoke, and they need to find a chain of pickoffs, killing core heroes.
It's not safe there. It's really not safe up that hill. And
go.
you can see he takes the northern route. Even then, Liquid's still looking to punish. And Miracle says, great, if you're not going to give up any free kills, that means you're not defending this tower either. So he continues to bang away, rapidly draining it of its health. Bloodseeker filling that like pseudo bristleback role. God's a fairly tanky frontliner, especially the Aegis, and just smacking towers.
Yeah, he just tanks tower hits, then he heals it up with the next creep wave coming along. Here's the smoke. They've got the blink. This is the first smoke has to work. Like that's the thing. If this first smoke fails,
in position, he's gonna break that smoke nice and early. He will get crushed to start things off. Matumba there to answer. The Torrent connects. How much do you want to throw onto a Tusk? Not a whole lot apparently. And now could be in danger here for the Slardars. He tries to retreat. X boat coming out, but Matumba engaged. He's getting the bashes too. He's able to bring the Slardar down inside of the Chrono, and now just with one more bash, I think DDC drops here without getting off a single major spell. Bash, and finally the Grave, just in the nick of time, and now tries to retreat out of it. Meanwhile, Miracle cleaning up on the back lines, finding off Fu, and DDC did end up getting bashed again. Down he goes. Queen of Pain, the lone survivor, never even used the ult that fight.
Yeah. I mean,
They just don't have the best real like setup for these fights. It's a crush, but it's on one hero, and that's all she wrote. Meanwhile, you've got Vacuum Chrono on the other team.
one of those fights where the first smoke with that slide up blink has to succeed, or you find yourself in a world of trouble. You're going to quickly run out of smokes. Your opponents now know the slide up blink's up, and suddenly you've lost a big team fight. Liquid get a tower, they get more gold, they get more items, they get harder and harder to kill. There's going to be double Manta styles soon on the Void and the Bloodseeker, so they're going to have ways out of the Queen of Pain Orchid and just get a lot tankier and do a lot more damage with these. So game gets exponentially harder after that fight now.
10k gold lead now. Team Liquid feeling very confident as Super. Still trying to work towards that Orchid. Might be in danger up top. He is going to blink forward into the wave, and Mind Control starts to pursue. Vax him back, the snowball on through. They are going to have a Walrus Punch here momentarily. Can they burst him down in time? Super. A blink away again. With the Bloodseeker, though, they can continue pursuit, but looks like he should make it out.
Bullies cop out of lane a bit, but see the
Not
the
really
lanes
getting
all
allowed,
being...
not being allowed to farm too much right now.
No, no one is on this Dire team all too well. TB's just been kind of passively farming his jungle. Hasn't been able to join fights all too well.
So LGD will start to group up. They have the Mantis down now on Monet. Way to deal with the Bloodseeker silence, but it feels like he'll need a lot more. He's already queued up an early BKB. Even if you get that, though, there's still the Chrono and some good physical damage to cause you problems.
He did this build yesterday. It seems to be just something he likes doing. Very defensive build, but in a build where you're going to have a way to deal with both silences. But like you say, there's still Chrono, there's still going to be a Walrus Punch.
And the thing is, he can't really count on the Dazzle this game because that Dazzle is just so poor. So where you can normally maybe be a bit greedier, this time not the case. Is Liquid prepping for the team fight.
Yeah, smoked up here, but
It's on the low ground.
Slad's in good position, has the high ground, has a blink, so he can just escape should he get jumped.
And Liquid doing that smoke without the uphill vision. If they could have snuck all the way up the hill, perhaps they would have committed, but they will retreat.
Not a big deal for them. They don't need to be the ones ganking or using smokes, so they're happy they have Matu farming bottom while that's going on. It's LFY who really need to connect with their smokes when you're playing from behind. Not finding kills when you use those smokes means you're just going to maintain really bad lane equilibrium and have no map control. They go in on bottom. Void's engaged on.
Static Storm was committed for this. Queen of Pain, not quite enough damage to bring him down, but has the Sonic Wave jumping in. The bubbles there, the glimpse back too, actually perhaps saving Super. GH now in danger. He'll end up falling, so do save the Void here. Did have to drop the Chrono for that, and now the Cavalry joins the fray. Queen of Pain blink on cooldown, has the Veil, has the ultimate, but the Bloodseeker keeps the vision. Mind Control, a Karate Chop will do him in, and now with the Walrus Punch too. All the martial arts being used here. Next on the list is Slardar. Liquid making it a 2-for-1, and they get 2 cores for a support disruptor, so really more than a 2-for-1 there.
Void barely got out there. The Static Storm probably saving his life, so can thank GH for that one. And that was the one like moment with the Orchid before the Manta came up. So now Machu's going to have a Manta style to play with. Same for the Bloodseeker, but Void's the big target. If you want to take a team fight, you've got to engage in this Void and kill him before he Chronos. The Chrono will guarantee a successful team fight for Liquid, and they now have lost that initiation advantage. You can slide up blink, crush him, and try and burst him down during the crush into like Torrent, but that's very difficult to do and rely on.
Well, map's about to feel a lot more claustrophobic with this tier 2 dropping. Last outer tower on the horizon. LGD look to muster their defense, and they will make a move. It's onto the Void right now. They know there's no chrono available. They will commit. The physical damage substantial. However, with the silence on the Terrorblade, he's got to be careful not to get caught.
We plus corrosive haze.
Disengage. Yeah, they have a ton of physical damage. The only worry for me is, do they get to hit anyone? Because Monet still feels pretty squishy in these fights.
See there, all it took was one lobby of attacks from TB and his illusions, and it was Matu from like full HP to half.
Good crush. We'll find the Tusk here. Can they get more? Kuro down. Now the Glimpse back, but again, look at the HP on Monet. He just melts to this. Just gets bursted down by Team Liquid, who charge in with the Static Storm, covering the forward progress. Mind control on the engage too. Matu is there. He doesn't quite have the chrono just yet, but they're doing the work anyway. Kuro's going to roll his way back into this fight, connects with the snowball, makes it another takedown. Queen of Pain to fall, and Afu glimpsed back by GH. In danger now as well on the chase is Matu. He could make it a full 5-man wipe with the chrono. The bubble gets dropped. Perfect positioning. Pounding through DDC. Charging onto Afu, and they will clean LGD off the map. All 5 dead. A lot of green now on that gold bar.
Yeah. Cost him a tough buyback, but end of the day, that's your 5 position support buying back to come back in the fight, offer some extra control, and
you're behind when
off.
They lose 2 and he buys back. And you lose 5, and it's almost an even gold trade. Experience, though, still even more and more favoring Liquid here.
Yep, poor Terrorblade. You get Glimpse. He's trying to stand still while ruptured, but the Glimpse forced him to move, and he took damage as a result. And this is looking more and more rough for LFY as time goes on.
Liquid kings of the early game. I know that was one of Nahaz's big talking points, was Liquid are just so dominant early that they can just take over and perhaps even just snowball against the strongest team. This is a team that 2-0'd OG, but not matching up well against Liquid's much more up-tempo style. OG a little bit more patient and often slow to develop with their strategies. Liquid are just running at you. I mean, looking at how the game's developed, Gods, like, is there anything LGD could have changed, or do you feel this is more just the way the lineups match up?
I mean, that mid lane could have perhaps gone a bit better. And they got the Courier Snipe. That's the crazy thing. Like, yeah, you don't have Shadow Strike level 1, but Courier Sniping is probably better. And top lane, TB free farm. The Slider definitely had a much weaker lane than he perhaps should have.
Well, it could be a potential dive here. LGD committing 4 heroes to that rotation. Actually, all 5 came in, but not able to commit, or not able to connect for a kill.
Just felt draft-wise, LFI was pretty limited. Like, the Dazzle's just stuck top. The Kunkka can roam, but he put all his eggs in the mid lane basket, and problem was they didn't really completely shut down Miracle. 4 deaths early on didn't really mean too much when he's still farming and was winning his lane outside of those deaths.
Shadowblade now complete, so in addition to all the outer towers being down, Liquid now have more ways to catch you by surprise and punish you, whether it's the Glimpse, the Shadowblade Bloodseeker initiation. Also, by the way, there's a blink on the Disruptor, so just the closing potential of Liquid is pretty obscene, and the damage ain't lacking either, as they will collect the first cheese here of the game. Matumba now completing a Diffusal Blade. Huge damage output from the Void as well, with the Manta to go with it. Liquid they have all the tools now, it feels like. The physical damage, the team fight potential, the map control items. All they have to do is execute that next fight. Even the Shiva's Guard is online for mind control, and perhaps one of their most important items against, as you point out earlier, heavy physical damage from LGD.
Cool. We'll see how Liquid go about breaking high ground and closing this game out. It does get a little bit harder when you're pushing into the LFY initiation. If they can get a nice Blink Crush into Kunkka Torrent.
They aren't the best high ground sieging team. I mean, we mentioned Bloodseeker's like kind of a ghetto bristleback, but he is not as tanky, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And with this build going for more of a damage dealer, so.
Yeah, his build's not really being geared up to help them break high ground now. He hasn't gone full tank. Like, the Manta's nice, but Shadowblade suggesting he wants to scale more as a late game carry. And I think Liquid know, like, yeah, we're ahead and theoretically could go all in to pick up items that are going to help us end the game with this Aegis and Cheese, but that's also riskier than just playing for more of a late game. Wait for pickoffs to present themselves, wait for a fight that works out for us. But they are split up, and LFY say, you may have Aegis and Cheese, but we're going to actually make a play.
They dropped the weave pretty early here. Just looking for that opening, and they might find it. It's on Kuroki, not the biggest deal, but still they'll take any kills they can get at this point.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it is the least farmed hero in the game for Liquid. Had that been even the Disruptor, it would have been a much juicier takedown.
It was a bit unfortunate. It wasn't anyone else, but they'll take it, I guess. Disruptor's got a Lotus Orb even. Jeez, that's a lot of fun for GH. He had an interview where he said, I like this new patch. There's more stuff to farm, and we're seeing it here.
Super getting glimpsed away. The boat coming through. Kunkka on the flag. Have some Cocoa Rum. GH, take that one to the bank. He'll end up going down. And Mind Control dives in, but he doesn't have any sort of follow-up just yet. They're going to need some help here. Comes in the form of Miracle. Chasing on the fray, but a well-timed Sunder puts Miracle in danger. He does get the full heal up from the Cheese. He's not able to find the crucial kills, and late to the party, Matumba Man looks to follow this one up. He does get surged in, has the Chrono in his back pocket, and now the Crush. While he hesitates, well, they strike initially with the initiation, but Matumba Man, although he muscles his way forward, doesn't have the firepower to get any kills just yet. He's forced back. The Chrono's now on cooldown, and perhaps Mind Control needs to blink away. Indeed, he will. A Super chases in. He gets bashed once. Will it be a second time? Could be in danger. If so, and now into the fray is the Slardar. They will crack that Aegis open. Round 2, though. Kuro looks to make it a profitable one. Snowballing his way forward, and Matumba Man lunging in to position on the Dazzle. Gets off the grave. Well timed, but do they have any sort of follow-up? Meanwhile, a bit discombobulated as they try to work on the Bloodseeker, but he's simply too tanky, and Matumba sees another opening. Great charge there by Kuroki, locking him in position, securing the follow-up kill. Liquid on a roll here, just pure force of arms at this point, really. Not the most coordinated fighting, but it doesn't need to be when you're this big, Gods.
That was like a well-played team fight by LFY across the board, but Liquid have Aegis, Cheese, they have the extra lives, Tuskegee respawns, and, well, they've just got, too many items, too much farm, and it is all over for LFY in game number 1
Slardar with 10 deaths. Don't think he gets to Milk Award status, but
well, gotta win the game for
went
that.
longer, perhaps he would have. Liquid want to put LGD out of their misery here as the Star Ladder champions continue their rampage here in Moscow. Game 1, a complete thrashing of LGD. LGD will look for their final stand, but Miracle keeping things under control with the blood right now. The boat coming in, Matumba, time walking forward, but right into that boat. And now X back, perhaps an opportunity. Super, though, needs to get off the Sonic Wave if he wants to make it count. The Static Storm getting deployed, and now Monet, Grave, and BKB combined. Not the best teamwork by LGD, but they are on the ropes, and you can just feel that desperation is asunder. And then not a whole lot else to combo with it. Illusion forcing Miracle back. Perhaps the strongest weapon they have is this Illusion of Team Liquid. Unfortunately, it's going to end now. The Snowball directly into the Chrono. Oh, salt in the wound. LGD being hounded back to their fountain. Miracle farming them nearly at the door. The tier 4s even aren't enough to keep them safe. The Slardar scurrying back. And finally, LGD will tap out, but they took their licks, and then they took a few more for good measure, ending this game down 31,000 gold. Didn't feel like they were really in it after the 5 to 10 minute mark, Gods.
Yeah, it was just very rough early game. I think that safe lane Void worked incredibly well. Maxing the bash early meant that anytime Slider came up to the lane, he was just getting gone on, and Void had solo kill potential on him. With a support, it was a guaranteed kill, so very tough off lane for LFY. Meanwhile, Liquid's off lane was like guaranteed to at least get some experience in farm. We kind of talked about, oh, Darkseid's not doing all too well, but he still